G'day guys, how's it going? Axel with you once again in a beginner's guide to choosing a base location in ARK. I'll try to keep this as brief as possible, so let's get going. This will mostly be directed to PvP orientated players. I'll try to keep this system as universal as possible, but Wildcard didn't necessarily make all the maps, so there are some maps that this won't really apply to. I'm bringing in this video for all the new players who will be joining in when Genesis Part 2 finally drops. And I'll start with the terrain. The terrain can work with or against you. Harvestable rocks, nodes, small shrubs, they won't render in unless you're close to them, which can expose your base from far away because the building itself will render in before the shrub does. However, trees stay rendered in as long as buildings do, and of course, so does the non-harvestable terrain, so cliffs and overhangs are a good place to start. New players will generally want to disappear and stay hidden because without tames, armor, weaponry, good high stats, or even other tribe mates, you're vulnerable to just about everything. But how do you determine if you're hidden enough? Well, you need to consider what's around you or the area you think is suitable. If there's lots of carnivores around, particularly spinning top alpha raptors, you should probably avoid that area. Beaches are usually considered safest, but they're quite open and normally have very few resources available. 9 times out of 10, having a hidden wooden shack is better than having an exposed metal one of the same design. So do some small amounts of farming for your basic resources, hitting a couple of trees, hitting a couple of rocks, getting your berries, getting your fiber, until you can find a different location if you're not comfortable with where your starter base is. Beginners, once they've made a Pteranodon saddle, bowlered, tranked, defended against a Carno, and tamed their first Pteranodon, should find a base location that is only accessible with flyers. Anything off the ground will do until you're better equipped. Being up higher will also help with wild dinos not interfering with you. Another component of choosing a base location is resource access. Building next to a rare or hard to get resource is great, it will make it easier for you, but you need to remember that those areas are high traffic. A lot of people will probably pass by, and it only takes one person to see your base, and then they'll probably harvest everything around it and, your cover's blown. Not to mention the extra nasties that spawn near those areas, like Allos, Rexes, and Gigas. Don't always be fooled by small cramped areas. They might seem like a good investment, but just because you can get down a foundation doesn't mean your walls or ceilings won't get collision blocked. Eventually, with some practice, you'll learn to automatically detect what space is big enough for what kind of base. For solo players, building small is advised as this will help avoid detection. You can't be raided if you can't be found. If you're stuck on what kind of base to build or how to build it, I have plenty of tutorial videos with base designs of varying sizes depending on the stage of development you're at. When it comes to tames, try to keep to the small ones. Smaller is obviously harder to detect, and this also depends on your needs. Parasaurs are a good early tame for collecting berries, also carrying all your hard-earned goods. Terrorbirds are easy to bowler and knock out, and Dimorphodons make excellent swarm creatures when in groups of 4 or 5, etc. Just be sure you have mutton or prime meat available with some narcoberries because the Dimorphodon torpor drop is quite rapid. There's always the option to build in caves, but these have the same issues as high-end resources. Nasty creatures and congregating site for other players. If you can find a cave with a small entrance and it's unoccupied, you can build as big as you want because there's no point trying to hide in a cave, there's nowhere to hide. So I guess to summarize this video, use the terrain to your advantage, keep an eye out for carnivores, although some herbivores are also aggressive when choosing your base location. Build small and out of the way to avoid detection. Learn the map and where certain biomes are. Get in the air as soon as possible. And hopefully following this guide will see you cruise through into mid-game with little effort. Give a thumbs up if this video has helped you out. If there's anything I've missed, please let me know in the comments section and I'll get back to you. And I'll see you in the next one.